so glad to have you. It's Thursday. Got a big football game tonight.
Meanwhile, on the screen right in front of you, a man from Japan is crying.
Oh, he is crying.
Because Japan advances, and you will not.
Tears of joy.
You will not give the non-Americans love in this World Cup.
No, I will. I'm just more interested in how the U.S. does than I am Costa Rica. I don't know. I just don't have a connection. So,
Perloff won't even give the Americans love. So, I mean, what are you talking
You're
about?
You're calling Christian Pulisic is just a guy. Just not putting his life on the line for the U.S. men's national team.
Now this is getting warped. I am a huge Christian Pulisic fan.
Yeah.
I always get nervous I say it wrong. By the way,
love him so much. No clue how to pronounce his last name.
Watch 2 hours of ESPN and you will hear it said 4 different ways. But I'm just saying it wasn't exactly like he was going over the middle against Brian Dawkins and about to take a shot. That's all I'm saying.
Well, maybe we should ask our next guest because he is somebody who played in a collision sport, of course. That's Bryant McFadden, CBS Sports HQ NFL analyst. He's the host of All Things Covered podcast, which we love. He's also a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Bryant, thanks so much for spending some time with us today. What do you think? You saw the goal that Christian Pulisic scored. Was that putting your life on the line, like going over the middle in the NFL?
No. I mean, listen, we know soccer is different than American football, but in regards to putting your life on the line, no way. Nowhere close to being in that conversation.
Yeah, it's not a wide receiver getting hit by James Harrison and a little slant, right?
Exactly. But, in regards to the game with soccer, we see a lot of things happen with certain players. Not saying in that incident, but where they just kind of over-exaggerate certain things.
Yeah. But, people have started flopping in the NFL, though. Have you noticed that? They're trying to get calls. All of a sudden, guys get pushed a little bit, and they go flying 5 yards back. Dude's 300 pounds. All of a sudden, he's on his back. Anyway, we've got more pressing matters we have to get with you, Bryant McFadden, our guest. So we love your podcast. Of course, it's All Things Covered. You, Patrick Peterson. Yesterday's episode, or at least I saw it yesterday, was an interesting one. Let's play a clip, Brian. I know, obviously, you know it, but for the rest of our audience, if they haven't listened to it, it was you two having a conversation about Kyler Murray. Okay, so that was you talking first and then Patrick Peterson second. And, Brian, I think your criticism is valid, right, from what we can see on the field about him and the coach getting into it. Patrick Peterson played with Kyler Murray and maybe knows him a bit better. Were you surprised by what he said about Murray?
Before I answer that question, one thing I would like to clarify. I know there's a lot of people, basically saying Pat is looking for clicks and he's trying to gain attention. If you know anything about Pat Pete, he's never been that type of guy. He's a guy who's always been under the radar. He's a guy who's done things, quietly than anything, and that's just who he is. And in that situation, he would just speak in his mind. So to answer your question, yes, I was surprised because my action, if you watch the video of us, what he said, I was stuttering. I didn't know what to say because I didn't expect that. But then he was just being real and he was just being blunt in regards to his experience out there with Kyler Murray. And as I stated as well when Pat finished his statement, I don't know Kyler personally, so I can't speak on him on or off the football field. I can talk about what I see on the football field, the same thing you guys see. But in regards to talking to him, who he is about in the organization, I can't speak on that. But Pat can because he played with him, and I got to take him for what his word is. So, yes, I was surprised, and hopefully from what happened on our episode, hopefully those two guys can maybe talk about things and move on. But, we have to wait and see.
So I'm sure you saw Kyler's tweet by now, right? So he quote tweeted it yesterday and said, "This isn't true. You were on some weird bleep," and added, Patrick Peterson, "You got my number. If you really felt like this as a quote unquote big bro or a quote unquote mentor, you supposed to call me and tell me, not drag me so your podcast can grow." I get what you're saying about Patrick Peterson, never a guy who's doing this for the clicks. It's really something he feels. But what we kind of know about football and professional sports, generally this stuff kind of is taken care of behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, no question. But then also, too, Maggie, you got to look at what is the situation if there's not a relationship. I don't know Pat's relationship with Kyler Murray, but I don't think it's as intact as it would be Pat and Tyrann Mathieu. I know those guys rock. They talk all the time. So I feel like if Pat felt like it was a good opportunity to call Kyler because they have that type of relationship, he probably would have done so. But it seems to be, and I'm just given my assumption, I don't think there's a relationship between the two guys in regards to one individual feeling comfortable enough to call him and talk about some things that has bothered him in years past.
So you were a defensive player. Is the quarterback's part of their job being a leader for the whole team? Does every quarterback have to do that, or is every quarterback different? And the expectation, as far as leadership goes, is it okay for the quarterback not to be a leader? Does he have to be that role in the locker room?
I think the unwritten rule in the game of football, especially the National Football League, the quarterback is a leadership position. Now, some quarterbacks lead differently. And you don't necessarily need your quarterback to be the ultimate leader, but you need your quarterback to be a dependable guy on and off the football field. Mm-hmm. And I think with him being dependable, that will require his teammates to respect him and lead by example, by being the ultimate professional, being in the building early, leaving the building late. Those are actions that people will follow and treat you as a leader without you saying one word, because usually those actions will warrant success and wins for your respectable organization. So, yes, just because you play the quarterback, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a leader. But at some point in time, you have to showcase leadership traits. That's why the quarterback is the highest paid position in the game of football, because to whom much is given, much is expected.
It's a great point. Bryant McFadden is our guest. One more point on this, Brian, and then we have other NFL stuff we want to get to you with. But Patrick Peterson also said that Cliff Kingsbury is going to be the scapegoat here, right? That's kind of his prediction, right? That things are clearly not going well in Arizona, and Cliff is going to be the one who ends up paying for it. Obviously not Kyler. They just gave him a bunch of money. Just take the relationship between Peterson, Kyler, and your role in this or whatever out of it. Do you think Cliff Kingsbury is a good coach?
I don't think he's a bad coach, but I don't think he's a coach that was deserving of getting the opportunity that he received in the National Football League.
Yep.
And the reason why I'm saying that, guys, is because what significant thing did he do at Texas Tech in regards to consistency, right? When you look at coaches that make that jump from the collegiate side of things, they have shown a consistent stride of wins. Most notable, let's highlight Matt Rule, who didn't have a good tenure in Carolina. Right. But if you look at his coaching career throughout college football, going back to Temple, looking at how he changed that program around, then getting an opportunity to go to Baylor, changing that program around, of course, you're like, well, he's done some good things, and he's done so in a consistent way. Of course, yeah, let's see what he can do in the National Football League. It fizzled out, but let's see. My thing is this with Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know him personally, and I'm only speaking from what I've seen throughout him standing on the sideline. Texas Tech never was a consistent winner when he was there. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think he had a below 500 record when he left Texas Tech.
He did.
Yep.
So he did, right?
Yeah.
So how can you have a below 500 record coaching college football and then get promoted to the highest level where you're dealing with the best professional athletes in the world, the best professional football minds in the world, to get to that level? How is that possible? How can you be, at best, average and get promoted? In what profession does that happen? In what employment does that happen? It doesn't. That's not the case. So to answer your question, I can't say he's a bad coach because he is deserving of being a head coach somewhere, right? But in regards to being in the National Football League based on what he's done before the Arizona Cardinals opportunity, no, I didn't think he was deserving of that.
All right, well, as long as we're opening up that topic, what if he was in the booth, in the ESPN studio 2 weeks before he took his job? What do you think of Jeff Saturday getting that opportunity with the Indianapolis Colts?
I mean, it's the same thing. Listen, I love seeing former players get an opportunity to coach, especially if they want to coach, right? But the way he got the opportunity, heck, he never interviewed to be the interim head coach. It was just given to him. So, it's tough because there are a lot of guys that are currently on that staff that have been through the fire day in and day out with those guys that have had coaching experience, not necessarily saying as a head coach, but significant coaching experience that were overlooked for that opportunity. Now, you have to live with it, but was Jeff Saturday deserving of that opportunity? I would say no, but I'm happy to see him get the opportunity because maybe that can open up other doors for other coaches, other former players that would like to be coached. But, yeah, when that happened, man, I was just as surprised as all of you guys. Like, who's the head coach? He was a consultant? Like what, really? But I'm okay in seeing it. If this can be a domino for other people.
Sure.
That's the thing. I'm looking for opportunities for other guys that want to do the same thing. Like, if this can be a domino for other guys that play the game at a high level or just play the game in general and they have a respectable mind and they know how to lead, then, yeah, so be it. Let's go with it. But we have to wait and see if this could be opportunities for other guys. But for me, I was definitely surprised. But I can't hate on Jeff Saturday for getting the opportunity. Someone presented him with opportunity. You can't expect for him to say no. But was he deserving based on what we've seen in years past with other interim head coaches? No, he wasn't. But let's see exactly what comes from this opportunity.
We're talking with the two-time Super Bowl champ, Bryant McFadden. Is a CBS Sports HQ NFL analyst. He's the host of All Things Covered, where he talks with Patrick Peterson. It's a great podcast. I encourage everybody to listen to it if you're not already. One more for you, Bryant, and this one is just looking ahead to this weekend. Don't want to overlook tonight, Bills-Patriots. I know that's a really big one, but I think a lot of people are curious, what is this Dolphins offense going to look like when they go up against the San Francisco defense? Because there's been a lot of love for Tua. There's been a lot of love for Mike McDaniels. What do you think happens when they run into this good San Francisco D?
Yo, if the Dolphins offense is real, they produce. They ball out. The same can be said for the 49ers. If they legit, they ball out. But something will happen when iron meets iron. Something will happen. So I think they will make plays, no question, because they have unique guys in key positions on their offensive side of things. But it's all about Tua. You know, if Tua can be comfortable like he's been over the last few weeks, man, he's playing with a lot of confidence, man. And this could really jumpstart a legit MVP campaign for him if he can go into San Francisco all out and they win. But, you know, these are two playoff caliber teams, and I'm a bit biased. I'm a defensive-minded guy, so I always love seeing defenses, you know, neutralize and slow down elite-like offenses. So that's kind of the side I'm favoring just from the defensive side of things. But, man, to answer your question, I do believe the Miami Dolphins can be successful against San Francisco. Now, the bigger question is, will they be successful enough to score more points than San Francisco's offense? That's the question.
Last question for me, Bryant. We are a Jordan Travis show. We are fans.
Yes, we are.
And you tweeted that he should be in next year's Heisman conversation. Does that mean he's going to be the quarterback in FSU next year? Or should we expect that? And, man, he's going to be awesome if so.
Yo, Andrew, when I made that tweet, I was hoping it gained a lot of traction, so maybe that can be the deciding factor in getting Jordan to come back for one more year. So I selfishly put that out there because I would really love for him to come back. But in all honesty, I do believe that. I believe if Jordan Travis returns to Florida State, along with everything that will be around once again, why not? Name me another quarterback that has been as hot as Jordan Travis over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the college football season. Name me another quarterback in regards to playmaking ability, making plays, efficiency, and just being a playmaker.
Caleb
Jordan
Williams?
Travis has been balling.
Caleb Williams, Bryant?
Caleb Williams, yes, but I'll say this in regards to Caleb Williams. Over the last 4 to 5 weeks, like, he hasn't really played against defenses that you kind of like got to look at and say, okay, well, they can kind of go at you and give you some heat a little bit. And also, too, when you talk about just the improvements, I think that is a big nod in favor of Jordan Travis as well.
Yeah.
He's been probably one of the more improved quarterbacks in college football. Caleb Williams came in with a lot of hype, deserving so, because he's been that type of player. But in regards to who Jordan Travis has been and what he's done this season, yes, I think if he comes back, I understand you got Drake May in the ACC and North Carolina who will be returning as well. But Drake May is not the playmaker that Jordan Travis is. Did you see those 2 plays he made with his legs against Florida? There are not a lot of quarterbacks in college football that can do that.
We're big Jordan Travis. We had him on the show earlier in the season. He made us big fans.
How is I think Anthony Richardson looks like a first rounder, by the way, the Florida quarterback. But then I look at his box score at the end of the day. What do you think? I mean, we're probably going to be talking at draft time, and he's probably going to be in the conversation. But I don't understand how you can be that inefficient in college and still be a great NFL prospect, Bryant.
Because a lot of scouts, front office execs, they get mesmerized by potential. Mm-hmm. That's where some guys get drafted based on potential, and people feeling like we can coach them to reach that potential. This is the type of individual I am in regards to watching college football and just thinking about draft time. If I don't see consistency on the collegiate level, why do I believe you would show consistency on the highest level?
Yep.
That's the thing. And yes, athletically, potential, he has everything you would want your quarterback to have, plus more. But he just has to find out how he can be more consistent. Because if you're not consistent at the quarterback position, you're not going to win ball games. You're not. And if you don't have a quarterback in the game of football, that field is extended to 50 yards. It feels like you have to drive 150 yards if you don't have a quarterback.
Man, Brian, we could do this all day. Unfortunately, we're up against a break. This was awesome. Thank you so much for making time for us today. The two-time Super Bowl champion, Bryant McFadden. Of course, you can watch him on CBS Sports HQ as an NFL analyst, and he's the host of All Things Covered. I know it's been a busy 24 hours for you, Bryant, I'm sure. A little extra busy with going viral as you guys did. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you for having me. I always make time for you guys, so thank you.
Appreciate that. Bryant McFadden.
Thank you, Brian.
The best. Thank you for watching our video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this, just hit the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell.
Just hit the bell.